Good afternoon. God, that's a scary photo. It's really strange looking at yourself in that way. Anyway, never mind about that. My name is Alienora Taylor, and I am a writer, basically. I have been known to make this kind of video before. Unfortunately, I have the technological ability of a brick, and the ones I've tried before have come out either inaudible or absolutely stupid, or else I've made so many mistakes and interrupted myself with dreadful four-letter words, smacked wrist, that anyway, they haven't come out properly. Now, what I want to do today, I want to share about my writing with you. I can imagine lots of you are probably thinking, boring, it sounds just like an English lesson at school. Well, okay, yes, I was an English teacher, and actually my English lessons were, although I say it myself, pretty bloody good. I was a bit of a live wire. I was a bit of a maverick. I was a bit weird, very weird. So I'm going to take you through my books, and I'm going to read part of. So, book number one in terms of my having published it is Long-Leggedy Beasties. By a strange coincidence, it is all about the first year teaching experience of an English teacher, who of course has no resemblance to me whatsoever. Hair colour red, okay, many people have red hair, slightly strange, well, you know, lots of people are slightly strange, yeah, no resemblance. And of course the school in which I teach fictionally, nothing like the school I taught in for 30 years at all. Yes, why is my nose growing? Anyway, so, Long-Leggedy Beasties. Third one to be published, and you'll see why in a minute why I'm doing it in this order, is much more serious. Riding at the Gates of 60, which I wrote some 30 odd years ago when I was a mere slip of a girl. Well, okay, I wasn't. I've always been a fine figure of several women, but I was more of a petticoat than I am now. And this is all about the death and life of Virginia Woolf, and it is seen through the eyes of Leonard Woolf, Virginia's husband, Virginia herself, obviously not posthumously, and her sister Vanessa Bell. Okay, so that's a serious one. Next we come to my esoteric journey, volume 1. One of the things which I share about quite openly on the blog, I write a blog as well, is that I am actually a student of the Western mystery tradition, and I tend to go for ritual magic weekends, and that book is all about this sort of thing. And my most recent book, which was published about 3 weeks ago and has dropped like a stone, I have no idea why, because I think it's bloody brilliant, is The Lyre of Logres. And this again relates to the Western mystery tradition and is a collection of short stories like my esoteric journey, volume 1. And I would like to just point out that the beautiful cover, the photo for it was produced, provided and very generously given to me by my old friend Carolyn Eaton, with whom I taught at World Community School for many years, and who has now become what I suspect is going to be a very well-known and well-thought-of photographer. Okay, now my second book is perhaps the one that some people would find the most shocking, because of course looking at me you can tell I am just the epitome of charm and wonderful manners, and I'm obviously being brought up to be a lady. Not. So this book, Come Laughing, is all about sex, and it is deliberately meant to be funny and a little bit shocking, a little bit outrageous, and you know, I'm sure people who know me will be very surprised about this, because you know I'm such a shrinking violet in real life. I'm quiet and I'm shy, and you know, I don't say boo to a goose normally, so this is but you know, to put it in context, no, I won't, because there are some things that even I am not going to mention on a public video. So, Come Laughing, look at the title, and yes indeed, it means exactly what you think it means. Nothing like getting a mention of orgasm into the title to get the old clients rolling in. Hasn't worked so far, but it's always worth a try. Anyway, so at various points during this book, I have written under various alter egos, including this rapacious old slapper called Booby Fellatio. Subtle. And the question to which I was responding via dear old Booby was, which luxury would you struggle to give up? So here is Booby at her tittish best. Well, darlings, I am so glad you asked. You're just a teensy-weensy bit miffed that it's taken you so long. I mean, really, a femme fatale cannot be made to wait around indefinitely. Beauty is a full-time job, I'll have you know. Flowers, chocolate, champagne, they all have their place, usually upon my many occasional tables and bedside cabinets, or in the case of the chocolate, mustn't let the Siamese out of the sack now, must we? Reveal all later, my loves. My absolute must-have luxury is a plentiful supply of toothsome young men, a mélange, you might say, of mighty oaks to be grasped by this frail and dainty willow. I like them just a little bit younger than me, say in their mid-20s. What do you mean, how old am I? A lady never gives her age away. Yes, I dare say it does seem as if I have been around forever, but that is simply the widening ripple of my stream of exquisite fame. Though I say it myself, I am a sight for sore eyes, and certainly gave that trampy old tart Marilyn Monroe something to think about, or would have done, had I actually been more than a ruby tadpole in my father's jewel bag at that point, which of course I wasn't. Yes, I am the honey pot to end all honey pots. I am the sex goddess. They cannot keep away. I like to think of it as providing a service. It is a kindness, really. I could almost put myself up for charitable status. You have all these gorgeous young things with all that delicious testosterone just slurping around and going to waste through the wiles of Mrs. Palm and her 5 sisters, or worse, a plethora of gum-chewing and inexperienced tarts, all called Jazz or Kaz or Laz. And you know, I'm sure what the Bible has to say about seed wastage, and some fell on stony ground. And we don't want that, girls, do we? I am, as you might say, a very specialised finishing school. I teach the dear things how to serve a 16-course dinner without the end result being a bun in the oven. It takes it out of me, you know, this level of commitment to a worthy cause. I have to spend much of the day slaving away in sauna and cold pool, under the pesky hairdryer, in the lap of the gods of the unguents and scents, prey to harsh tigresses of podiatry and pedicure, manicure and waxing. I have the profound stress of sorting through my wardrobe for the exact little dress required, then the tiring business of accessorizing. I'm often exhausted, a limp rag by lunchtime, and need a refreshing G&T and a brisk Swedish massage, courtesy of a brisk German maiden named Helga, who has fists like hams and reaches the parts no man has ever dared to broach, before I am ready to open the Thornton's assortment box of delicious men. What do I look for in a man? 8 inches minimum, dear. A girl's got to have some standards after all. The physique of the Greek god always helps, though without snapped-off appendages, obviously. I do like a smooth torso, don't you? Oh, so sorry. I'd assumed you were a girl. The name Hilary is so frightfully androgynous, isn't it? And the long hair was a wee bit confusing, as was the frock. Not really your colour, love, if I may be so bold. You'd be better in crushed strawberry. Good, strong thighs are an absolute must. I like to be gripped as if by a marauding python. A dense head of hair, as I like something to grab hold of when in the throes. Symmetrical face, yes. Colour, not important at all. I'm not the least bit fussy, as I'm sure you can tell. My little luxuries have hailed from most countries. Why, I even have a rather sweet Papua New Guinean tribesman I whip out on special occasions. Intelligence? Oh, good heavens, no. I am not a blue stocking or an elitist academic snob who won't blow anyone less than a full professor. Au contraire, I consider the brain almost redundant. Who needs their favourite luxuries actually thinking, after all? You wouldn't expect a Mensa level of conversation from a bar of plain mint chocolate, now would you? Would be a bit shocked if your Jeroboam of Champers suddenly upped and started quoting bits of Paradise Lost at you, would you not? Why, some of my treats can barely string a sentence together in polite society. Frankly, as long as they have sufficient savoir-faire to point Percy at the requisite hole or holes, I'm really not bothered. The best one I ever had? Now let me see. An absolute brute of a man, who, rather wittily I thought, called himself Frankenstein's monster, broke in here one day. I was, I acknowledge, a tad taken back initially. Well, you would be, wouldn't you? He must have been 7 foot tall if he was an inch, and had obviously undergone recent and hideous surgery, including, by the looks of it, a penis transplant from a rogue elephant, I suspect. He wasn't a great one for conversation, and had an abrupt, nay coarse, approach to amour, grabbed me like a sack of potatoes, and had me, then and there, over the chaise longue, the aspidistra, the sundial. I tell you, I've never experienced such rough or enduring treatment. Wonderful, I dream of him still. But all good things come to an end, and after our 16th coupling in an afternoon, he exited from my life, through the vegetable garden wall, as it happens. Now do forgive me if I turf you out. Time waits for no woman, and I am expecting a very tasty morsel in the next half hour, hand-delivered from Harrods, no less. Sven, he's called, and I have rarely seen buttocks so sculpted and fine. Yes, delightful meeting you too. So, if you enjoyed that story, why don't you go onto Amazon or CreateSpace or Amazon Kindle and order your own copy of the one and only Come Laughing by Alienora Taylor. Lovely meeting you, although of course the pleasure was entirely yours. Farewell, good afternoon, goodbye, and all that.